Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. Ames, Iowa, where winter can be a harsh reality. This is the scene outside Hilton Coliseum. But look inside. It'll be hot in here today. It always is when the Cyclones come to play. And today, they play Oklahoma State, a team tied for first in the Big 12 Conference basketball race. Great matchup here in Ames today. Hi, everybody. Fred White along with Paul Splitter. Saw a great one last week here. Probably another one.
Yeah, another ranked team coming into Hilton Coliseum to see what they can do. Iowa State not very good on the road in midweek. Tries to turn it around today.
Let's see how the two coaches are going to start them here this afternoon. Eddie Sutton of Oklahoma State starts Graham, McFarland, Lucas, Bobby Canallen, and at Iowa State, Wayne Morgan with Broman and Holman, the shot blockers up front. Sullivan, a senior guard, and two freshman guards, Stinson and Blaylock. The Cowboys in, ranked 13th in the nation. Here's the series history. Oklahoma State with a slim 2-victory lead. They've won the last 3 and 14 of the last 17, but Iowa State leading big in this building, 31-12. Iowa State has won 12 in a row here in Hilton Coliseum. Oklahoma State got a big win on the road in conference play earlier this year down in Austin, Texas, and they've got a win that not many people are going to be able to get. There's the Iowa State bench. That's Jake Sullivan sitting there on the left. As we get set to go, Wayne Morgan, the head coach in the brown suit there, his first season at Iowa State, 13-5 here. Well, I think they've been a little better than most people thought they would be.
Well, they've been so very good at home, and that was something that has been a consistency in the past. Oklahoma State, on the other hand, has been very good on the road. They've got a 4-1 record away from Gallagher-Iba this year, including a win at Arkansas by 15 points. They've done well in conference play on the road. Another tall test for the Cowboys here this afternoon.
Well, you saw a shot of the weather outside here. They tell us there are about 100 cars in the ditch between here and Des Moines, about a half hour south. We saw a lot of cars driving up here yesterday that were off, so winter's no stranger to this part of the country, but these fans here always respond. They always pack this arena.
Well, the arena will be close to full here this afternoon. It'll also be close to full here this evening as the Iowa State women's basketball team square off against Missouri. Tougher travel yesterday afternoon than it was here this morning, but we saw the good road. The interstates was the good road. The country highways, it's a little bit different.
There again, the Iowa State record at home. They are 4-0 in the conference, 0-3 on the road. They've won 12 straight here in this arena, 7 straight conference games. They have lost 20 straight games on the road. They're really puzzled. They want to try to figure it out, and I know you probably gave the best reason for it, the freshman guards.
Well, the freshman guards, and also having trouble keeping their intensity on the road. And you take a look at the Iowa State basketball team, they returned 3 starters. So you say, well, that's a pretty good nucleus, but also remember they have a first-year coach in Wayne Morgan, and he changed some things from what Larry Eustace had done over the previous 5 seasons. So while you have some guys returning, they're coming into a new system, so you kind of negate that a little bit.
And don't you think this is true, too? Eddie Sutton's such a great coach. His team is always so fundamentally sound. They do things that don't break down no matter where you're playing.
Well, you take a look at what they do consistently, and it's the good shooting percentage, and it's all about shot selection at Oklahoma State. They're leading the conference again this year in field goal shooting percentage. Got to have the good selection, but they make so many things happen on the defensive end because their ability to go out and defend the perimeter, get steals, get it going in transition. But they feel they're a better half-court offensive team this year, that they got more weapons on the offensive end than they have had in the last couple of years.
And Eddie Sutton's ability to blend transfers. He has 3 transfers in his starting lineup. First possession, Iowa State was check defense.
Well, man-to-man defense for Oklahoma State. They played that way all season long. Broke out of zone against K-State. That was the only zone they've shown all season.
Jackson Broman getting the slam down, and we'll see how Iowa State chooses to play it.
They're going to play a lot of zone here this afternoon. A little half-court trap right there. Token pressure, if you will. Oklahoma State prepared for that zone defense here yesterday afternoon in their shoot-around.
Lob to the baseline. Ivan McFarland with a nice spinning left-handed shot ties the ballgame.
The strength offensively for Oklahoma State is out on the perimeter, but both teams look to pound it inside in their first possessions here this afternoon. Interesting matchup right there out front. Tony Allen, man-to-man on Curtis Stinson.
That means that Lucas is on Blaylock, and Blaylock immediately took him to the baseline.
Well, the freshmen are a really important part of this basketball team. Will Blaylock, the freshman point guard, Curtis Stinson, the freshman off guard.
Eddie Sutton wants to get a quick timeout. He didn't like what he saw right there. So Eddie Sutton and Oklahoma State have called a very quick timeout here. That's unusual for Eddie Sutton. It didn't take him long to get one. And a reminder, that the Phillips 66 Women's Basketball Tournament is March 9th through the 13th at Reunion Arena in Dallas. On those dates, plan to see both the men's tournament at American Airlines Center as well as the women's tournament, brought to you by Phillips 66, longtime supporter of Big 12 men's and women's basketball.
Fred, coaches hate to take a timeout before that first media timeout. We saw it last week, the start of the second half, and Bill Self of Kansas didn't like what he saw out of his team coming out in the second half, even though the Jayhawks at that time had a lead. He burned a timeout. Here this week, just a week later, Eddie Sutton, he takes a timeout less than 1 minute into this ball game. Iowa State simply getting to the rim too easily. Jackson Vroman on a dribble drive with a dunk, and Will Blaylock getting it to the front edge of the rim on the dribble drive, other side of the floor, again from out in front.
And Sean Sutton up doing a lot of coaching during that timeout. Boy, they hate it when they work on it in walkthroughs and practices.
Iowa State quickly puts that zone trap on. They love to get you along that sideline. They can double team right there.
Be interesting to see how Oklahoma State lines up the next time on defense. They face the zone of Iowa State now. There's Tony Allen, last year's newcomer of the year in the Big 12 Conference. They dump it in the middle of the lane to McFarland. It's knocked out of his hands and taken away, and they're out 3-on-1 against Bobbing, and Jake Sullivan spots up. Leave him alone, and you got it.
Did not have a good shooting night in midweek in Norman, Oklahoma. Off to a good start here this afternoon.
The crowd already alive here in Hilton Coliseum. McFarland, Allen, had a notion, didn't pull the trigger on it. Now Vroman comes out to covering.
But Iowa State is in a man-to-man defense. They're following guards as they cut through. So while it has a zone look to it, they are going through with players. Oklahoma State may want to go to their man-to-man offense.
Joey Brown had it knocked out of his hand. Holman was down there, and the shot there won't fall. Here comes Curtis Stinson out on the break. Vroman, it's going to be an offensive foul. Jackson Vroman spinning in the lane, committed a foul.
Iowa State got it going in transition, doing a good job on the defensive glass, and here comes the speed guys. Blaylock in the middle of the floor. Got drivers, and you got a great shooter out on the wing. Find Jake Sullivan on the little flare right there. He got his first shot down today.
Wayne Morgan's a first-year head coach here, but it's not unusual to see the Iowa State big men out running the floor, is it?
Well, they run the middle part of the floor. They let the guards and the forwards go ahead and run the wings, fill those lanes to the outside. Big guys go from baseline to baseline right down through the middle of the floor.
Joey Graham, top of the circle, knocked it down. The transfer from Central Florida. He and his twin brother, David, newcomers to this team this year.
Joey Graham hoping to turn things around this afternoon. He kind of disappeared their last time out against A&M. Just 2 points, no rebounds in 11 minutes.
Stinson in the lane, and they've got a foul called by the out official on Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State looks like they want to pound it inside, but Iowa State backing it in a little bit, going to force some shots to go out from the outside. So Joey Graham steps out.
Foul was on Bobick. Iowa State up by 3 with the basketball. Boy, Allen out bumping Stinson that time. Sullivan.
Similar kind of players matched up. Bobick defensively for Oklahoma State. Jake Sullivan with his hand in his face buries that one.
You know, he was shooting poorly last week until they made a run in. And the first tightly guarded 3, he shot like that, he made it. And that started the Iowa State run. Great start for the Cyclones at home. Down to the baseline again. Glass Stinson, can he shoot that little runner?
Well, he can shoot about every shot out there. Great in the mid-range game. And Iowa State, another different look this afternoon from what they showed Wednesday in Norton.
Oklahoma State has already called 1 timeout. We've only played 3.5 minutes. And they are behind. They're down by 8 in the early going here. Iowa State has hit all 5 of their shot attempts. Down inside, that was Joey Graham.
So Joey Graham's got it going from the free throw line now along the baseline. Tough shot right there. Had a great one from underneath the board.
Lucas defending Stinson. Now they drop it off, and Holman cuts loose from the top of the circle, and that's Stinson almost got the tip. Tony Allen back for Oklahoma State. Gets a screen from McFarland and knocked the 3 down.
Tony Allen, one of the top scorers in the league this year. 5th in the conference in scoring. 5 20-point plus ball games so far this year.
Has not shot it well from behind the arc. Only 10 for 42 coming into this game, but he nailed that one. And now it's a 3-point ball game.
They're out on the near side for Blaylock. Good defensive stand by John Lucas.
Now Stinson tried to get it low to Holman, and a blocking foul down in the lane. on Tony Allen. The first on Allen. So we have a timeout here, 15:40 left in our first half. And we'll be back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. Iowa State in attack mode early here. They're up by 3, and this guy's one big reason why, Paul.
Well, they got it to the glass the first 2 possessions and then found Jake Sullivan once in transition, then on a little pop out right there. He's 2 of 2 from three-point land. Just took 2 shots in the entire first half the last time out against Oklahoma. Talk about Jake Sullivan, his ability to hit the three-point basket. Well, draining the 3, Iowa State. Dedrick Willoughby, a sweet stroke in the late 90s. Fred Hoiberg, the mayor, played here in the early 90s. And Jake Sullivan outdistancing those 2 powerhouse players.
Got a 3-point attempt off the inbounds pass, but a tough one, a fadeaway in the corner that came up a little bit short. Now Iowa State just down by 3 with the basketball. So they have survived a pretty solid early punch from Iowa State. They're going to kind of hunt and peck against that zone right now.
Weatherspoon now on the floor for Oklahoma State. First substitution in the ball game. Pretty good shooting. Open up on a cold afternoon here in Ames.
Both teams shooting it well in the early going. Now Witherspoon with a travel. The ball got stuck on his hip as he started the drive. So well, Blaylock at midcourt. Blaylock and Stinson, those 2 freshman guards, outstanding, both of them.
Oklahoma State trying to step up their defense. You talk about them withstanding that first salvo of Iowa State. Their defense has stepped up to give them some stops. Trying to slow down these Cyclones, who played with a lot of confidence and rhythm early on in this one. Still a lot of time, 11 seconds on the shot clock for the Cyclones.
Roman looking for Blaylock. Lucas giving him a little bit of cushion with Blaylock took him on the drive on the first possession. This time they have to give it up. Terrific pass from Lucas, and Weatherspoon couldn't handle it when it got there. Long bounce pass. Now let's take a moment to thank our Big 12 corporate partners, 7-Up, and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours.
If Iowa State looks to attack a little bit quicker this time down, they had everything going offensively, had their fans very much into the ball game early on. Slow things down in your home court. You can't take your home fans out of the game.
Ball out of bounds here to Oklahoma State. Jackson Broman was sure that an Oklahoma State player had touched it last. So still a 3-point ball game. This game suddenly has calmed down and settled down.
Iowa State got out to a quick 8-point lead. Just over 3 minutes into the ball game.
Oklahoma State took that timeout, and at the second timeout, they've obviously made some good adjustments. In the middle, Graham got it down low to Ivan McFarland.
Great interior passing that time by Oklahoma State. Cowboys not very big up front. They're up there at 6'7", 6'8", so they're going to be outsized by a number of their opponents. But everybody up front, Graham and McFarland, very good interior passing game for those guys.
Blaylock, Coleman, down the baseline, Stinson, foul, and a bucket. And no bucket. They're going to take it away.
Iowa State going to the trap on the sideline. That means the defense has to rotate over. Roman caught in a 2-on-1 situation, and Cowboys able to capitalize. Spread the defense, pass the ball.
Still 12-11 Iowa State. Apparently Stinson was on the baseline down there. We're looking through a tangle of bodies. They called it a walk officially. Now Weatherspoon, now Lucas.
Oklahoma State trying to get a lot of movement away from the basketball. Backside of that zone defense. Got to hurry now.
Now Lucas way out front. 2 on the shot clock. Lucas off the heel of the rim. It was a try. They got it up before the shot clock went off. And look at Stinson get it back. On the return feed that time from Blaylock, and it bounces over the rim and out of bounds. And neither side now has scored for a while. Still 12-11 Iowa State. 12:54 left in the first half. Weatherspoon sits down. Bobbick back in for the Cowboys.
Clearly Iowa State did not like the tempo of the basketball game the way it opened. They came out shooting it very well, but over the 40-minute stretch, it looks like Wayne Morgan didn't feel that they could want to get in that style of game against Oklahoma State. They wanted to control tempo a little bit, try to see if they can turn this into a half-court game.
Bobbick.
Iowa State now in a man-to-man defense.
Joey Graham pulls his way into the lane and knocks it off the glass for his 6th point. And Oklahoma State's in front by 1, and Iowa State now has gone 4 minutes without a field goal. Blaylock drops it off for Holman, spinning the glass. What a great shot by Jared Holman, his first point.
And both big teams, big guys up front, putting the ball on the floor, taking it to the glass. First of all, Joey Graham over Holman, then Holman on the other end.
Bobbitt on the glass and out of bounds. World War II left in the first half.
Both teams on their last possessions looking to get it inside. The dump-off pass from Curtis Stinson to Jared Holman. Holman, one of the better shot blockers in the league this year.
Well, you know what? You have to be pretty tough to make that shot, pretty strong to make that shot that Holman just made. Spinning a little bit off balance and in traffic.
Matchup defensively now. Oklahoma State. Weatherspoon out man-to-man on Jake Sullivan. He is chest-to-chest with him, trying to deny him the basketball. Over on the near wing. Sullivan now wiping off the pick. There's the shot.
What a tough shot. You know what? He had a hand. Weatherspoon can jump, and he had a hand up there.
Well, Jake wiped him off on a pick. That was a tough angle along the baseline. Fall-away jump shot with a hand in your face. That's the kind of shooter that Jake Sullivan is. When he gets on a roll, he can just absolutely bury a team.
Well, you know that Oklahoma State would rather not have Bobby defending against Sullivan. Bobby's one of their better offensive players. Weatherspoon's one of their better on-ball defenders. That's Lucas in the lane. He's strong with it.
Got a good look.
Yeah,
good dribble drive, splitting the defense right there, getting into the middle of the lane.
Blaylock giving it up to Sullivan. It's not there. Broman in traffic, and a foul call. They got Joey Graham away from the ball there. So we have a timeout here. 11:01 left in our first half. Iowa State up by 3 in the early going, and Jake Sullivan shooting it well.
The Nebraska Cornhuskers have jumped out quickly against Missouri. Check out Marcus Neal for 3. It's now 16-6 Nebraska.
Nebraska playing 5 guys above the free throw line. Hey, Split, if Nebraska controls the tempo, Missouri's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, Missouri would like to use their athletic ability, Chris, to get the ball up and down the floor. Neal, good his last time out last weekend against Oklahoma. He gives them a lot more scoring potential at the guard position, more so than Richardson.
There's a turnover. Iowa State got a bucket that won't count. The ball goes right back to Oklahoma State. 5-second count. Call it. I'm not sure anybody in the league, and their record won't reflect it, but I'm not sure anybody in the league is doing a much better coaching job than Barry Collier.
I'll tell you what, Barry Collier is the kind of guy, you send your kid to his school, you know he's going to be well taken care of. Terrific coach, a patient man, not maybe as athletic as some of the other teams in the Big 12 Conference. They've played some people tough this year. Haven't got a lot to show for it in the win column.
You know, they played a great game down in Texas and lost a close one. You saw the turnovers, 5-3. Now Lucas on the attack with 12 on the shot clock. Bobby not there. Boyd Froman did a great job of coming out to help. Lucas from way outside, and he nailed it. Wow, John Lucas, a 41% three-point shooter. And he was out of the NBA range right there.
I think Oklahoma State is concerned and confused by the defense thrown up by Iowa State.
Count the bucket. And I think the bucket counts on the shot and that on the tip-in by Broman.
Well, let's take a look at the dribble drive. Oklahoma State very concerned about the speed and quickness of the guards from Iowa State. Little pick right there by Joey Graham, got way up on the glass. So that shot, those 2 points, will be credited to Will Blaylock on the drive.
He's 2 for 2. Blaylock and Stinson both can throw the ball softly up high on the glass and convert it.
Good recovery by Allen right there. He got in a little bit too big a hurry. Didn't see the ball into his hands. Looked like he wanted to go on the dribble drive.
Now Joey Graham in the middle working against Broman, and Holman coming to help, but too late. And Joey Graham, who had the great game down at Texas 3 weeks ago, has 8 points in the early going here, and we're tied at 18. After a terrific start by Iowa State, they had the Cowboys down by 8 at one time. Now we've got a whistle blowing. Broman dueling on the far side. And the foul goes against Oklahoma State. Phillips 66 is proud to be presenting sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Be sure to stop by your local Phillips 66 station. Fill up with quality Proclean gasoline only from Phillips 66, the performance brand.
Terrence Crawford into the ball game for Oklahoma State, getting gradually more and more playing time as his knee gets healthy. Had a knee problem early in the year. Great feed from Jake Sullivan right there. Went off the foot of Holman.
Now Bobbitt running an open court, got it to Tony Allen, he missed with the left hand, and Broman there to take it back for Iowa State. They're up 4 on 3. They get it to Sullivan, not a bad option, but that one won't fall. Quick extension, and that's going to be goaltending. Charge to Oklahoma State under Jason Miller.
Both teams struggling in the half-court game right now, Fred, so you'd like to get something going in transition. You start the transition game with the solid rebounding. Look for Sullivan on the perimeter. How about Stinson inside? The strength right there, fighting off one of the Cowboys, putting it up quickly.
Down the lane, Allen got wide open, and Tony Allen picks up his 5th point. And we're back in a tie at 20-20.
From 15 feet on in, Tony Allen's about as good as anybody in this league. If he can get to that part of the basketball floor, he is tough.
There's a foul on Terrence Crawford, and not a good foul. Fouled Broman about 35 feet from the basket. Now checking into the ball game, Damian Staple for Iowa State. Damian Staple's very athletic. Gives them about 12-15 minutes a game off the bench. Down the lane for Iowa State, no bucket there. They slap it around, and Miller comes up with it for Oklahoma State. Weatherspoon in the middle.
Fred, you talk about Damian Staple. He's probably going to get a little more playing time because Marcus Jefferson is not with the Cyclones their last 2 ball games. He got the start here last Saturday, played just 11 minutes in that game. Has not been with him over the last week or so. Iowa State players supporting him and whatever personal problems he has right now, but not in uniform here today.
Boy, Bobbitt shoveled that thing to Terrence Crawford, who did a good job of getting up softly. And Oklahoma State in front for the first time today at 22-20. I think that's the second time they've been ahead. They're up by 2 now. They had a 1-point lead earlier in the ball game, and there's the miss from Blaylock, and Iowa State cooling off a bit here.
Good defense by
9 out of 15.
By Weatherspoon that time. Take away the dribble drive, force the shot from the outside. Fans wanted to travel, no travel as Miller converts inside.
Morgan wanted to travel also. Well, it's really impressive, Oklahoma State, how they just methodically keep working and working and working, and they stay with their stuff and they run it well.
Well, Fred, if you look at what they have, it's a team of juniors and seniors, have all kinds of experience and play well together. So you take a team like that out on the road, they've got a better chance to withstand that early barrage that they saw from the Cyclones. They're able to fight their way off the ropes and now have a 4-point lead.
Well, and we talked about running the transfers in. 2 of those transfers were there practicing with him last year. Lucas was not. He's a Baylor. Roman, tough shot. Well, there's a guy that's only playing his 3rd year of basketball. Went to 15 high schools. His father was a serviceman, and he never got eligible for basketball until his senior year of high school.
Well, the thing that he does, whether he played a lot of basketball or not, he's constant hustle out there, and he outworks most people. Tough angle right there on that fadeaway shot into a double team. That Iowa State team didn't play well at Oklahoma, but he came away with 15 rebounds in that contest.
Well, he was a soccer player as a kid, and you have to figure because of that he has good footwork, and he does. Weatherspoon in and out of the lane.
Shot clock at 4 for Oklahoma State. Need to hurry again.
Allen put it on the floor, maybe one too many times. He did. He didn't get the shot up in time. The shot clock goes off. Iowa State forces the turnover. They had a couple of chances to get the shot up, and they couldn't get it done. So it's Oklahoma State by 2, and we're back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66.
Michigan State has figured out how to win on the road at Ohio State. Chris Hill open for a nice look. They shoot 73.3% and beating the Buckeyes 84-70.
Well, everybody had Michigan State written off after that tough start, but look at them now, split 7-2 in the Big Ten, right behind Wisconsin in 2nd place.
Well, everybody in that league chases Wisconsin. The Big Ten down a little bit this year. They're wondering how many teams they can get into the tournament. Can you imagine shooting better than 70% on the road?
I can't. Or anywhere else.
Well, you're looking at what we're doing here, though. I mean, not too bad in the mid-60s. Oklahoma State leads the conference in field goal shooting percentage. Iowa State in the middle of the league.
Jackson Froman feeds it down low to Stinson, and he gets hammered down there. And speaking of Froman, let me correct one thing in a moment. First, we'll tell you Cooper Tire is proud to be the official tire of the Big 12 Conference. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. I'd read that Froman's father was in the service. He was in the service of a lot of professional basketball teams. They moved so much because he played professional basketball for a lot of different teams. He was not a serviceman. But Froman did not become eligible in high school until his senior year. Then he took to the game pretty well, I would say. Curtis Stinson with a miss. Oklahoma State still leading by a pair. Now Froman will come out of the game.
We talk depth in this ball game. Iowa State would be at a disadvantage to the Cowboys in this one. Stinson, not a good free throw shooter, 57% on the season. So defensively, if your fouls hold out, he'd be a guy you'd want to send to the line. 0 for 2 here.
Just them both, and now bumping. McFarland was Joey Graham. McFarland went down and was able to get rid of the basketball without a travel.
Oklahoma State continues to look puzzled at the defense that Iowa State has thrown up against them here this afternoon. Bobbick hasn't gotten many touches today.
Graham taking it down low and too strong with the try, but the tip was good.
Tony Allen on the tip right there. Oklahoma State does a great job on the offensive glass. They commit 3 players to the offensive rebound every time down, and it paid off for the guys in the black jerseys right there.
Oklahoma State up by 4, their biggest lead. Stinson way out front, and Iowa State offense has really slowed down, Paul.
Yeah, it really has. It looks like they're looking to get the dribble drive. Normally you see Oklahoma State out pressuring, trying to get into the passing lanes, but they're so concerned about the dribble drive, they're backing off a little bit.
Shot clock at 7 and down low. Staple with a miss. Rebound, Oklahoma State taken back by Stinson, and he knocks the shot down.
Got a double dribble right there. They got him, but Stinson can get it done in traffic. This kid, 6'2" and 205 pounds, will remind you a lot of Jamal Tinsley when he was here. Tinsley was out there at about 6'3" and a guard. He was about 200 pounds, just so much stronger than the other guards that he went against. Stinson, much the same type player.
So Oklahoma State still up by 4. They have the ball. They've got Lucas down low. Oh, what a shot. John Lucas.
And how about the pass from Ivan McFarland? We talked about Oklahoma State not being big up front, but they play solid position, and all the ball handlers that they've got on the post handle it well and are terrific passers.
Holman softly off the rim. Rebound, Tony Allen. Out come the Cowboys. Running hard. Bobbick on the wing. Lucas had a look and turned it down. Now Tony Allen. McFarland to Lucas. Now they back it out against that Cyclone defense again.
Defensively, Iowa State has forced Oklahoma State into a half-court game.
Tony Allen and the Cowboys turn it over with 4:43 left in the half. And let's take a moment now to thank our Big 12 corporate partner, Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade. It's in college basketball. Is it in you? Well, these teams have become a little bit stodgy here. They both open with a wide open attack. And all of a sudden this game has settled down and the defenses have been giving the other teams problems.
Fred, it gets this way the second half of the conference season because you have so much tape on your opponents and you know what their tendencies are, strengths and weaknesses. Coaches in this league good enough that they will take away what opponents want to do.
Holman tried to get it to Holman, and there was Oklahoma State's defense with a hand in the middle of it, knocking it away. 4:25 left in the half, 28-22. Oklahoma State with a 6-point lead, their biggest of the afternoon. Iowa State led by 8 points earlier. Iowa State has hit just 2 of their last 7 shots now. And Jared Holman, the 6'9" junior from Remsen, Iowa, knocks that one down. GMC professional grade, the player profile, and look, Desmond Mason from Oklahoma State and 4 players from Iowa State playing in the NBA right now. Holman got both free throws. Now it's a 4-point game.
When you talk about the free throw shooting for Iowa State, we mentioned Stinson, the guard, not a good free throw shooter. Holman, the shot blocker on their team, is very good from the line. So Holman would be a guy that Iowa State would want to get to the line. You mentioned just 2 of 7 from field goals over the last 3 minutes. Get to the free throw line and get a good shooter there. You got a chance.
Now Joey Graham lost the handle on it. Here comes Iowa State. Stinson fires it low to Froman. Back to Stinson in the lane. Shot up and good by Curtis Stinson. He has a half dozen points.
Fred, the impressive thing about that run by Iowa State, how about the hands of Jackson Vroman? That ball from Stinson had some zip on it, and he handled it like it just floated into his hands, kept that play alive. A lot of players will see that ball go off their hands out of bounds.
McFarland a miss. There's a bump and a foul at the baseline. And the foul is against Jared Holman of Iowa State. Iowa State has Tim Barnes in the ball game right now, too. We have timeout here 3:39 left in our first half. Oklahoma State up by 2.
Split mentioned earlier, the Big Ten is a bit down, but parity makes for exciting finishes. Check out this tip by Michigan's Courtney Sims goes down, and the Wolverines beat Purdue 64-63. Let's get back out to Fred White.
Thank you. And Paul, you mentioned something earlier about the Big Ten being down. I think that probably applies to almost every major conference in the country. There aren't many great seniors left in college basketball. It'll be interesting to see what the tournament shapes up like this year, postseason.
Well, the Big 12 Conference has moved up in the RPI rankings over the last 2 or 3 weeks. When conference play started, the Big 12 was ranked 6th in the RPI. Over the last 3 weeks, they've moved into that 4th spot. Over the last few years, the Big 12 has been able to get a half a dozen teams into the postseason.
You know, I really think when it's all said and done, the Big 12 will get their usual complement of teams in the NCAA tournament, maybe a half dozen. Big 10 isn't going to do that well, I don't think.
Graham has just picked up his 3rd foul for Oklahoma State. That does not help the Cowboys up front.
That puts Jared Holman back on the line. He has a half dozen points today. Make it 7. Now it's a 1-point ball game. Jared Holman could tie it right here with 3:34 left in our first half.
Jared Holman missed their ball game at Baylor. He is out with a sprained ankle, got hurt in the Iowa ball game in the last 6 minutes of that contest. Came back with a vengeance his next time out. Hit a huge game. Was great against Kansas last week.
For Oklahoma State, David Mons has replaced Jason Miller now, so they switch big men up front.
Mons may get some playing time with the foul problems on Graham. Mons, a young guy into their program, just a freshman. A rebound, defensive type guy, but productive minutes for the Cowboys. Let's see what they get from him here today.
And Graham had it off to a great start with 8 points. Bobby Gooded. They close on him in a hurry, but they get it down to the baseline to McFarland, who converts it with the left hand. He has 6. That is Oklahoma State by 3.
And a terrific pass from Bobick. Most people forget he is the backup point guard. When John Lucas leaves the floor, it's usually Bobick handling things up front. He just had a dandy pass down low.
Stinson floats it to the baseline to Holman, backs it into the lane, gives it up. Sullivan, great look at a 3 off the front of the rim. And McFarland clears the rebound for Oklahoma State.
Good job of identifying the Oklahoma State defense. Holman got the double team. He saw where it came from. Fell off of Jake Sullivan. He'll usually hit that shot.
He's 3 for 6 from the floor today is Sullivan. Iowa State 11 for 20 from the floor. 14 for 23 for Oklahoma State right now. Oklahoma State still shooting 61%. Iowa State 56. There's McFarland. Well, he operates well on it, doesn't he?
Nothing fancy about that move. Very good on the low blocks with his back to the basket. He's a left-handed shooter. I think that's always an advantage for a guy. It seems like most of them out there are right-handed. Players tend to defend the right side, forget about the left. But McFarland quick on that move in.
Sullivan, they go inside out, and he knocks down the 3. Jake Sullivan has 11 points.
They've gone a long time without shooting the 3 before that second to last possession when he missed. So you can give him back-to-back shots. He'll be probably a 50% shooter, maybe even better.
32-30 Cowboys. Lucas, Sullivan out with him. They set the screen, and Lucas goes the other way, tried to shovel it down the baseline. What hands by Ivan McFarland to control that thing.
Well, a belt-high pass from Lucas in traffic. Stinson had the right idea on the rotation of the defense. He's about a half a step late, and that cost the Cyclones.
Roman down low against a double team and blocked by Ivan McFarland, the leading shot blocker for the Cowboys.
McFarland with his 30th block on the season.
A minute 15 left in first half action.
And Lucas out front setting the offense for the Cowboys. Even though he's a first-year player at Oklahoma State, this is his basketball team. He's the leader, and he led that one all the way to the glass. And Wayne Morgan not happy for Iowa State.
They simply ignored him, and he just went roaring to the basket from the deep wing. And there we are, a minute 2 left in the half. Oklahoma State by 6 coming up at halftime. We'll check in with Studio 66, take a look at that Missouri-Nebraska game, go down Tobacco Road, and talk about Oklahoma, and they seem to be playing a little bit better right now.
Oklahoma State with an advantage in points in the paint right now, 28-14. So Iowa State not having much success inside, but Vroman back outside to Jake Sullivan. Buried that 3. So Sullivan got off to a quick start, hasn't done much recently before that 3-point shot.
And now for the day, 3 for 5 from behind the arc, 4 for 7 overall. Both teams percentage-wise shooting it well. 55% Iowa State, 65% Oklahoma State. And look at the points in the paint. Well, that's where McFarland's doing all his damage.
Iowa State's game plan coming into this one was they wanted to go inside. They wanted to force Oklahoma State to defend inside, but Cowboys getting the best of it so far here this afternoon.
I'll tell you what, Ivan McFarland's got 10 points, and if you look at the shot chart, they're all going to be right at the basket. Under a minute left in the first half. Blaylock, Roman, Sullivan. There's a set play, and he was a little bit short with the try. Holman had a hand on it, couldn't hold it. Low. And two players go hurtling over the Oklahoma State bench. Holman was one of them. An Oklahoma State player went with him. And let's hope that they got a soft enough landing over there. I see Holman up. I don't know if I don't see the Oklahoma State player yet. Lucas is over there. It was Ivan McFarland, and they're all okay.
And those are the post players chasing it all the way to the sideline. Good execution by Iowa State. They did everything but hit the shot. Rick Sullivan got the wide open look. There's McFarland, Holman into the bench. Fortunately, the place is packed today, so they were into bodies, people there to catch him.
They landed on people, and Holman got a little push on McFarland as they went over the bench, and I had nothing delivered there. He wasn't trying to hurt him. I'm not implying that, but they were both jumping over there, and there was that little collision. Thankfully, they're all okay. Now McFarland's going to come out of the game, and Terrence Crawford back in for Oklahoma State for the last 45 seconds of this half. And McFarland assuring his coach Eddie Sutton that he's okay.
Not much scoring up front now for Oklahoma State. Got a couple backup players at the 4 and 5 positions, so look for the guards to handle the basketball. Look for any offense that the Cowboys get for the rest of the half to come from those guards.
And Lucas was fouled out on the floor that time by Jackson Broman. His second foul, and it comes with 36 seconds left in the half. And now Broman's going to come out of the ball game. You know Iowa State did not want him to pick up that second foul this deep into the half with 36 seconds still to break.
Well, the only frontline player on the floor for either team right now at either one of those post positions would be Holman for Iowa State. Check out the depth of both of these teams.
Just a second more on the game clock than on the shot clock. 19 to shoot.
Oklahoma State has had a number of possessions where they made things happen inside 5 seconds on their shot clock. Look for that again right here. Remember, this is Lucas's basketball team. He'll make it happen.
There he pulls up for a long three, and he nailed it. Boy, John Lucas, 10 points in the first half. Now it's Oklahoma State by 9 points. That's the biggest lead of the ball game so far with 1.8 seconds left in the half. Stinson throws it the length of the court, doesn't get it there. And we've got the mid-break here, and Oklahoma State finishing strongly. At one time, they were down by 8 points, and now at the mid-break, they lead 39-30. Ivan McFarland walking off, did all that damage down in the lane, has 10 points here at halftime. So, 39-30. Oklahoma State up by 9 over Iowa State. When we come back, Doug Powell and Chris Piper will take it. It's Studio 66. And Oklahoma State up by 9 at the half, 39-30. And an astounding shooting performance by Oklahoma State. And on the road shooting, look what they are, 67% on the road. That's almost unheard of.
Well, 50% is normally pretty good. You figure you're the home team. You should have a nice, comfortable first half, but that wasn't the case. Points in the paint, a big number for Oklahoma State. Doubling up on the Cyclones in that regard. Three-point shooting is even, and Oklahoma State with a little bit of an edge on the glass, although offensive rebounds not a factor. 2 offensive caroms for both teams.
Those points in the paint for Oklahoma State, Ivan McFarland has 10 of them. John Lucas has 10, most of his from the outside. Joey Graham with 8, opened strongly, then got in some foul trouble. Has 3. Iowa State, Jake Sullivan with 11, got it off to a great shooting start. There's McFarland with 10 points leading Oklahoma State. Cowboys have scored at least 80 in 10 games, and they're a good defensive team too. Iowa State has played defense well. Either of these teams letting their opponents shoot only 40% against them for the year. Joey Graham, boy, he just opens the second half by knocking down the jump shot, and he has 10 points.
Jackson Broman backing off that time. Wants to make sure that Graham doesn't get it in close. Graham took the open shot and just absolutely buried it.
Now an 11-point lead for Oklahoma State as they score on the first possession of the second half.
Iowa State will need a good 4 or 5 minutes to open the second half to try to change the tempo. Crowd very quiet from about the 15-minute point on in that first half, and that's a good start.
Jackson Bowman, with his third bucket of the game, his 6th point. He got the first 2 points in the ball game. Now he has a half dozen. He's able to sneak behind the defense.
Iowa State in a 1-3-1 zone defense. Want to keep some ball pressure, but they want to pack it inside as well.
McFarland again inside. He has a dozen.
And Allen on the feed. He will get the assist. Good ball movement. Recognize the zone defense. Try to split it. Get it to the glass.
Jake Sullivan. Now Jackson Vroman puts it on the floor. Nothing there for him. He got triple teamed. Well, he even looked at the basket and drew a crowd. Bobbitt now on Sullivan. Tony Allen still defending Stinson. And there's Blaylock with a long 3. Will Blaylock has 7 points.
You can see the Oklahoma State defenders out on the perimeter. Normally they come out and pressure you all over the floor, but they backed off a little bit out of respect for the driving ability of the Cyclones.
John Lucas, wide open look, loops it in and out. Tony Allen sneaks in and steals the rebound and scores.
Fred, that's one thing the zone does, is not allow you necessarily to match up and get your body on an offensive player. You zone out blocking down low. Oklahoma State able to cash in on the stick back.
Iowa State's going to get Reggie Staple in the ball game. Now Stinson down inside. He stole that one. Curtis Stinson has 8.
That's that upper body strength that we talked about in the first half out of Stinson. Absolutely wrestles that ball away from a Cowboy inside, and he's got a layup.
He played in the Rucker League in New York City. I'm going to guess if you don't have upper body strength, you last 10, 15 second stops. Shot missed. Roman, strong rebound.
Roman again giving Graham that shot. Graham missed that one.
Stinson goes to work against Tony Allen down low with a screen from Holman. And the foul called. Chick-fil-A. Let's take a moment now to thank our Big 12 corporate partner, Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. Now Oklahoma State's taking a timeout here. And Eddie Sutton talking to Tony Allen, now talking to a couple of officials. He's unhappy with something he saw down there. Timeout here. We're back after this from your friends at Phillips 66.
Oklahoma State up by 8 early on in the second half, and Iowa State a couple injuries over the last couple minutes. Check the scramble under the basket. Stinson will get the ball, but look at Jared Holman. Gets his ankle wrapped up there underneath McFarland. That's his bad ankle. He hurt that one in the Iowa game. And then Stinson the last time down on the drive got the pick from Holman, ran into traffic, and he rolled his left ankle. Holman's out of the ball game. Stinson in there for the Cyclones.
Boy, Holman has battled that ankle since the Iowa game and played very well through the injury. Sullivan, Vroman, dumps it back in the lane to Staple. Did he walk? Nope, foul call. He was having trouble clearing the basketball down there, but the foul called against Oklahoma State. That's Tony Allen. That's his 3rd. It is. Tony Allen's number 3.
No, we wondered what happened to Tony Allen this afternoon trying to cover Curtis Stinson. Oklahoma State really rolling the dice with their top-scoring guard. Also has to play defense on the other end.
Bad pass on the inbounds play. Bobbitt spinning move in the left-handed shot in the lane. Oh, what a shot. Daniel Bobbitt's first point of the day, and he earned it.
He had just one shot that entire first half. Now, he's a pretty good perimeter shooter. Good defense by Iowa State took him out of the game. Here comes Allen.
Well, he laid it off on the side. The shot didn't fall for Joey Graham, and Oklahoma State loses it out of bounds. They can't convert the fast break opportunity, and a break for Iowa State. And now a substitution. Jason Miller will check in for Oklahoma State. Shooting the rock, brought to you by Rolling Rock Beer. Grab a rock. Oklahoma State, how about that?
Yeah, same shooting percentage they had at the break. Iowa State has heated up. They were 52% the first 20 minutes. They're up to 58%. You mentioned Jared Holman rolling that ankle. He didn't even stop at the Iowa State bench. He went to the locker room.
And is coming back just now. They obviously retaped it. He's coming right back out again, and I'll bet he's right back in the game in a hurry. Oklahoma State sitting on a 10-point lead, 16:27 to play. They left McFarland alone. He scored 10 points inside, make that a dozen, but misses the outside attempt.
McFarland wasn't left alone. Jackson Broman was knocked to the floor on a pick.
Stinson In the lane, no. Got it back. Got the shot. Curtis Stinson now has 10 points, and Jared Holman is at the table. He's reported he'll come back in the game. Iowa State within 16 minutes to play.
Stinson's such a matchup problem for teams in this conference because of his size and strength.
Oh, they went over the top to McFarland, knocked away inside. Blaylock, the lob to Broman, tough catch, and he's fouled by Jason Miller.
Jackson Broman always comes with the energy. We talked about the big men running for Iowa State. They run the middle of the floor, and they like to get on a sprint with the other big men from their opponent, see if they can beat him down the floor. And Blaylock looking ahead. He saw Broman with the lead on the glass. Miller with the block. He also got a lot of the arm.
Jackson Broman, just a 48% free throw shooter, does everything else well. Iowa State is a team lately shooting free throws 40. That one's short. In their last 6 games as a team, Iowa State has shot 58% from the line.
Well, that tells you they don't have the right people getting to the free throw line. They're getting guys hammered. You're seeing Stinson get to the line a lot. You're seeing Broman shoot a lot of free throws.
Holman back in the ball game now as Broman makes the second free throw. Jackson Broman has 5 points. We have a timeout here. 15:51 left to play. Oklahoma State by 7, and watch this move by Daniel Bobby. We'll be back.
Keeping the eye on a couple of close games right now. Kentucky, first place in the SEC on the line, leads South Carolina by 1 with 22 seconds to go, and Nebraska leads Mizzou 39-26. Back out to Fred.
Thank you. Troubles in Columbia, Paul.
Well, troubles on the road for sure this afternoon for the Tigers. One of the real surprises and maybe disappointments in the conference this year.
Here on the road, Oklahoma State up by 7. Long way to go. 15:36 to play. Cowboys have the lead and the basketball as Lucas kind of probes that defense of Iowa State.
2-3 zone defense set up by the Cyclones. Get it into the middle. Great move right there by Graham.
Got 2 cracks at it. Wouldn't go, and Jackson Broman clears the rebound now for Iowa State. His 4th rebound of the day, and now the miss, and right back comes Oklahoma State.
Holman back out on the floor for Iowa State, but he is limping badly. Been involved in both rebound opportunities for Iowa State, both ends of the floor, and getting very little elevation with that sore ankle.
Jason Miller had the ball knocked loose, saved it. Now Bobbitt, now Lucas. Allen, Miller, Lucas, wide open, top of the circle, stuck it. That's a 3. And John Lucas.
That time, Jake Sullivan was the only white jersey on that side of the floor and had 2 shooters to cover. Had to decide between Lucas and Bobby. Oklahoma State found the open man. Sullivan couldn't cover them both.
Well, I think Oklahoma State's really running their stuff well right now in this ball game, and they've got the veteran point guard out there.
Well, they've also got that coaching staff. I mean, what Eddie Sutton team isn't a sound fundamental basketball team? They play position. They always take the open shots. The fact that they're leading the conference in field goal shooting percentage, not a surprise because they're usually a solid field goal shooting team.
Blaylock missed the shot. Back comes Oklahoma State up by 10. Well, I mentioned this earlier in the ball game, but Oklahoma State's so fundamentally sound. The things they do don't break down as easily as a lot of other things. Bobbitt the miss. He's not having a good day offensively. Stinson tried to throw it through heavy traffic. A race for the ball. Tony Allen has won it. Goes against Holman and got it.
And that's athletic ability right there. Ball knocked loose, and Allen just quicker to the basketball than anybody else on the floor.
Now Blaylock trying to answer at the other end, and a foul. We are at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa on a frigid winter day. Oklahoma State leading Iowa State by a dozen. Happy to have you along with us alongside Paul Splittorff. I'm Fred White. And Oklahoma State playing very, very well on the road today. Oklahoma State leading by 16 on points in the paint. Ivan McFarland with 10 of those in the paint.
Graham now with 4 fouls for Oklahoma State. Wayne Morgan making his case right there to lead official Danny Hooker.
Now Joey Graham will sit down. Ivan McFarland right back in the game. Graham started this game in great fashion with 8 quick points. Now has 10 as he goes to the bench with 13:45 left in the game. And Broman gets it back for the Cyclones. Blaylock Sullivan. Nice ball fake. There's the shot. Good. That's a 2.
Jake Sullivan wanted the 3, ended up with the 2 because Oklahoma State did a nice job of identifying the shooter, getting his face, forcing him to put the ball on the floor.
13 points for Jake Sullivan. The Cyclones down by 10. At the other end, boy, that was Bobby going hard to the bucket. Daniel Bobbick has 4.
All 4 of those points coming here in the second half. Good job of recognizing the defense. Keep the ball on the floor, keep it alive. He splits the D.
Sullivan missed, rebound Lucas.
Both teams done a good job on the defensive glass here this afternoon, not giving up many offensive rebounds.
There's a foul called on Broman as they got it to Tony Allen. Tony Allen now with 13 points. Kansas City hosts first and second round NCAA tournament action again this March. Thanks to the pod seating system, you can expect an area team to play in Kansas City. To get tickets to the games March 19th and 21st, go to www.big12sports.com or the Kemper Arena box office. 13 points for Tony Allen. And they've taken a timeout here. Oklahoma State now up by 14, the biggest lead of the game. You're talking about Eddie Sutton and how solid he is, Paul. He is only 6 wins shy of his former coach, Henry Iba. 6 away from Mr. Iba in wins, and he has 740 right now. He says 800 well within the realm of possibility, and it would be. Hey, about Whataburger. Whataburger, just like you like it. Eddie Sutton.
Well, you talk about Eddie Sutton. He's got a fine crew working for him here this year. And the Oklahoma State Cowboys, great balance here this afternoon. They already have 4 different players in double figures. Graham with 10. Lucas has 13. Allen has 13. McFarland has a dozen. But they also have some foul troubles up front.
And there haven't been a lot of fouls called so far in this game. 8 on Iowa State. About a dozen on Oklahoma State. Before those on Joey Graham. Now the free throw misses, and back comes Iowa State.
Well, if you're Iowa State and thinking about coming back in this ballgame, you're giving up a lot of points in the paint, so you need to make it up somewhere. Probably going to have to come from their guards. Stinson ready to go to work.
Look at Tony Allen playing defense now. Stinson able to get a screen and shake loose for the bucket.
Wanted to penetrate and get it to the basket, but got that pick, able to fan out a little bit, hit a mid-range jumper.
Yeah, Tony Allen was shutting down the drive. He wasn't going to let him take it. Still a 12-point lead, Oklahoma State, and the Cowboys in no hurry when they get the ball.
And they've done a great job here this afternoon taking the crowd out of the game. This crowd's such a big part of the game last Saturday afternoon against Kansas. Not a factor here today.
Lucas the miss, inside for the rebound. McFarland, no, and Stinson brings it down for Iowa State. Cowboys need something to ignite this crowd. Will that be it? Nope. But the rebound to Blaylock. He's open for 3, and he got it.
So many times that rebound comes off long after the 3-point shot. It did after Jake Sullivan missed, and Cyclones able to cash it.
That brought the crowd to their feet. It hasn't gotten them loud yet, but they're trying. 9-point lead, Oklahoma State. 11:50 to play. Plenty of time to go if the Cyclones can get it going in here and get the crowd into it and see if they can find some of that Hilton magic.
Iowa State in a half-court trap. Now go back man-to-man. Back it in a little bit.
Well, they opened the lane up and ran McFarland down the lane. They couldn't get it to him. 4 on the shot clock. Terrence Crawford bumping inside and fouled. He and Holman were bumping down in there. And the foul on Jared Holman, that'll be his second. 11:31 to play. Phillips 66, proud to be presenting sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Be sure to stop by your local Phillips 66 station and fill up with quality Pro Clean gasoline only from Phillips 66, the performance brand. Terrence Crawford hasn't been to the line much this year. He's hit 2 out of 5 after that miss. Has 2 points today, the 6'6 junior from Oklahoma City.
Played 14 minutes their last time out against A&M. He might get at least that here the rest of the way today.
Got the second free throw down. 11:31 left in this game. The Cowboys on the road up by 10. Don't go away. A lot of basketball left to be played. Oklahoma State ahead by 10. 11:31 left in this game. And let's take a look at our assist leaders, brought to you by Cargill. Collaborate, create, and succeed.
Well, if you're going to succeed in conference play, you got to have solid point guard play. And Aaron Miles, in a league of his own, he's had a couple of double-digit assist games in conference play so far.
How about that? 67, Will Blaylock at 31. Aaron Miles gets it done. Boy, he makes that team go, doesn't he? Here it's Oklahoma State by 10, 11:25 to play. Iowa State just hasn't been able to get it going since early in the ballgame.
Iowa State has had some problems with turnovers here in the second half. The pressure of Oklahoma State starting to get to the guards. And that's a good start if you're going to mount a comeback. Jake Sullivan from long range.
What a tough catch and what a tough bucket. Now the crowd on their feet and roaring again. 7-point lead, Oklahoma State. Every time Iowa State does something pretty big, Lucas kind of slows the tempo, sets the offense, and then they dissect it. Now they got it down in the lane and a walk. Ivan McFarland called for the travel. And Oklahoma State turns it over for the 14th time today. Iowa State's turned it over just 8 times. The Cyclones have really taken care of the ball this season. Now Holman's going to come out of the game and rest that ankle again.
You may not want to rest that ankle too long. When you got the ankle injury, if you sit down, that thing could stiffen up. You might not be able to get anything out of him for the rest of the afternoon.
Quite often when they take him out of the game, they put that thing in an electric boot to keep it warm. That's Roman working low, tried to throw it to the baseline to Reggie Staple. It wasn't there.
Roman saw the break to the basket, read the break. Staple didn't read the break, so they were not quite on the same page.
I mean, Damian Staple. Jake Sullivan. Weatherspoon slept and got right back to his feet. Now Stinson working hard in the lane. Jump stop. They knock it loose. Tony Allen had a hand on it for a moment. Now he's got it. Now comes Oklahoma State with the ball.
That's a turnover that Iowa State can ill afford. Getting a little late in the ball game. Going to be turning it over into the last 10 minutes.
Lucas gets a screen. Goes by Damian Staple. Stops. Jumps the shot up. No good. McFarland battling. Tears the rebound.
Oklahoma State will get a fresh 35. Then a super job of crowd control here this afternoon. That's the experience of their point guard, John Lucas.
10 minutes to play. Oklahoma State by 7. Make it 9. Tony Allen with his 15th point of the day.
Almost lost control of the basketball on the drive, but got control of it just in time to bury the 15-footer. Blaylock,
Sullivan. Down inside, it goes to Damian Staple, and a miss and a foul. Well, Damian Staples athletic down inside there.
He's going to be an important guy for Iowa State. Marcus Jefferson not with the team. Damian Staple was playing behind Reggie George earlier this year, but Staple has really come on in the last 5 ball games. Really started it with the Iowa game. He was in double figures in the Iowa game and also in double figures against Nebraska.
That's the 4th foul on Tony Allen. Graham's got 4, Allen's got 4, and that could take a toll here. Still 9:43 to play in this game. But you're going to have to make some free throws along the way. Tony Allen goes out of the ball game. Joey Graham comes back in. They both have 4 fouls. Bobbick is back on the floor. Damian Staple hasn't scored yet today. 53% free throw shooter. A 6'8" player from Kingston, Jamaica. That one won't go. So they're going to need every point they can get back in this thing. And the crowd sitting here very quietly, very unusual in Ames. It's Hilton Coliseum, usually wild and alive. And you mentioned, Paul, Oklahoma State's kept the crowd out of it. Now Witherspoon.
Well, they have experience at their guard positions. Witherspoon has been in the program the last couple of years. Bobbick started at BYU. And Lucas more experienced than any of those guys. Haven't played a couple of years at Baylor. And how about the feed from Lucas?
Boy, what a move down inside by Ivan McFarland. He has 14 points. And they used nearly 30 seconds of the shot clock in doing that. 9:03 left in this contest. That's Broman. Nice fake, but the foul occurred before he took the shot. Ivan McFarland is having quite a day down inside. Boy, look at that score. Nebraska up by 17 over Missouri now. Wow.
Nebraska has come close on their home floor on a number of occasions, only to come up short, but comfortable lead midway in the second half, and now and against MU.
Missouri continues to have problems on the road. Inbounds pass, and Broman quickly converts it. He has 7. Oklahoma State.
A set play, a pick, real important there for Broman. Get him open right next to the basket. Good execution by the Cyclones.
9-point lead now, Oklahoma State.
But Iowa State needs some stops on the defensive end, but Lucas done a great job of running this Cowboy offense.
Witherspoon, there's the steal, taken away. Damian Staple got a hand on it. Stinson working hard on Witherspoon, and Witherspoon fouled him.
That was a terrific matchup right there. Stinson, as good as he is in the open floor, and Witherspoon is staying with him. Iowa State does a good job. Hands up, anticipate the pass. Now here comes the speed in the open floor. Stinson as good as they come, and look at Witherspoon. Now he got the foul right there. A little bit of a slip, but I'll tell you what, that was great quickness in the open floor, both teams.
Here's Curtis Stinson now back to the line where he's had problems. He's 0 for 2 today, 57% on the year. Roman steals the rebound, though, for the Cyclones to give him another look. That look goes to Jake.
And Eddie Sutton will not like that sequence right there, because Jackson Broman came from one side of the lane, clear across the paint to get that rebound, keep it alive for the Clones.
It's a 6-point lead to Oklahoma State. The Cyclones looking for that stop you were talking about, Paul. Sullivan ignited this crowd a little bit. They need something else positive to keep the crowd involved now.
Well, you remember the first half last week against Kansas. It looked like the Jayhawks were in control till halftime. Iowa State came from behind to win that, but there's a big answer right there. John Lucas, big-time player for Oklahoma State.
He now has 16 points and a walk. The Cyclones turn it over with 7 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Still the 9-point lead. We have the timeout here, and we'll remind you that we'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66.
Oklahoma State looking for a road win. North Carolina at Wake Forest looking for the same thing, and they get it. Rashad McCants slams it down to close the door on the Demon Deacs. 79-73, the first road win in the ACC for Roy Williams. Also, Nebraska continues to embarrass Missouri. Nebraska 1-6 in league play. Back to you guys.
All right, and here Oklahoma State winning on the road 64-55, 7:43 to play. And Paul, coming out of that timeout, I thought the Iowa State players were wearing some pretty long faces, and there's Witherspoon getting inside for an easy two.
Yeah, Iowa State starting to feel like they're in trouble in this basketball game, and how about Witherspoon, the minutes that he has put in for Oklahoma State. They have held on to their 10-point lead, even though Tony Allen has been on the bench with 4 fouls.
Damian Staple able to rebound the Stinson miss there. And it's still a 9-point game with 7:16 to play. Bobby working outside against Sullivan.
Iowa State forced to go man-to-man. They want to keep pressure on the ball out front. Double team when they get their opportunities. That means spacing will be very important for Oklahoma State. They want to stay away from the pick, stay away from the double team.
What a great pass down inside from Lucas to Ivan McFarland, and then the foul on top of it. Count the bucket. And what a big set, offensive set that was that time. Oklahoma State back up by 11 points.
Fred, if you get the point guard play, everything else can come pretty easy. Lucas getting the passing angle, the dump down, bounce pass to McFarland, who had the defender sealed off on the low block. That is where McFarland does his damage. It's the point guard's responsibility to get the ball in the hands of the people at the right time, at the right spot on the floor.
Roman comes out of the game now. Ivan McFarland, 3 the old way, and he has 17 for the day. Oklahoma State now with 46 points in the paint to Iowa State's 24, and most of it Ivan McFarland. 15 of his 17 have come, I think, a 14 down in the paint. Now we've got a foul at the other end. Lucas hits the deck, and the foul is against Iowa State.
Lucas knocked off his feet that time on the drive. A little bit of a push on the dribble drive. Official made the call.
Holman's third foul. Now we've got a little talking going on at the other end of the court. And one of the officials in there to break it up a little bit, Stephen Hyatt, calmed it down in a hurry. Now Lucas makes a run of Blaylock, turns around and pulls it out, and very content to use some clock of them, Paul.
Right now, the clock is the friend of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It's going to work against Iowa State. Cowboys don't need to be in a hurry right now. Sullivan wanted the double dribble on Bobbitt, didn't get it.
Bobbitt off balance shot won't go with 15 on the shot clock. Damon Staple had it and lost it. And Eddie Sutton just screaming at his team, we didn't want that shot that soon.
Well, he didn't need that shot that early in the possession. They can get that shot anytime they want, but they get a break. Oklahoma State gets the break. On the foul on one end, offensive rebound on the other side, Staple all along, but the ball rolled off his fingertips.
Witherspoon going to bring it back out to Lucas. They'll reset the clock. They've got 30 left to shoot. 6:15 left in the game now.
Lucas, such a good ball handler. It's tough to get out and put the pressure on him.
Boy, that shot came too early too, but Bobby knocked it down for a three.
It's not too early if it goes in.
There's Stinson back in the lane, and he got the shot at the other end. So it's 72-59 now. 13-point lead, Oklahoma State. 15's been their biggest.
Too late in the ballgame for Iowa State to trade baskets. They need some stops on the defensive end.
Eddie Sutton wants a timeout. He gets the timeout here with 5:42 to play. 5:42 to play, and Oklahoma State leading Iowa State 72-59 here in Ames. This ESPN Plus game is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of the 2004 Phillips 66 Big 12 basketball tournament. You can count on Phillips 66 quality Pro Clean gasoline. By Cooper Tire, proud to be the official tire of the Big 12 Conference. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. By Shelter Insurance. For your insurance needs, visit shelterinsurance.com to find the shelter agent near you. Seek shelter today. By Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Infiniti, makers of the QX56, a full-size SUV coming in February 2004. Oklahoma State put a stranglehold in this thing midway through the first half, and they've kept it. Now with under 6 to play, 5:34, they're up by 13 points. Bobby in a little trouble, picked up the dribble, and he's got it down the lane to McFarland, and he's fouled by Stinson. Stinson thought he had ball. Boy, how about Lucas' day so far?
Well, everybody chasing him all over the floor, and he has played with his head up and everything under control. How about his numbers this afternoon?
16 points, 5 rebounds, no turnovers, none.
5 assists, no turnovers. They've had a terrific assist-to-turnover ratio. They were one of the bottom teams in the league last year. They're up at the top of the league this year, and John Lucas is the reason.
What's a point guard worth, huh? McFarland's free throw good. He has 18 points. Has a half dozen rebounds to go with him. Well, he has really operated down in the paint today. Taken one shot from out in the free throw circle. Everything else has been right down at the baseline. So 19 from McFarland. And we got a foul in backcourt on Janava Witherspoon, and Eddie Sutton immediately turns to the bench.
That's not a foul that they want. They've got the clock on their side right now, and it's going to help you if you can keep it moving. You don't want to stop that clock.
Witherspoon's trying to get to an open spot on the bench, and Eddie Sutton's put a screen on him. He won't let him get open. He's going to talk to him. That was one that Oklahoma State certainly didn't want. They've got a 15-point lead here with 5:24 to play. Curtis Stinson. What's quiet in here? You don't often hear it like this in Hilton Coliseum. It's usually a wild place. It's amazing. Stinson taking time with the free throw. I feel like a golf announcer right now. That's in and out.
Standing over a long putt. Yeah. That one didn't go in.
No, it didn't. 5:17 to play. Oklahoma State just, all they do now is take care of the basketball, and they go home with another win on the road and still in first place in the Big 12.
Oklahoma State doing a great job of keeping their spacing with their guards. Stay away from those traps and double teams.
Bad pass. Oklahoma State got careless, and Eddie Sutton again going down the bench and getting another player in the ballgame. Well, he just does not tolerate those kinds of mistakes. But now Tony Allen's coming back in, and Stephen Graham will sit down, and he's going to be met by Eddie Sutton.
Well, when Allen left the floor, it was 12 minutes left in the ball game, and the Cowboys had a 10-point lead. So he's been out for the last 7 minutes. They've extended their lead to 14 points. So Cowboys have played well without their leading scorer.
Laylock shut down by Ivan McFarland. Holman tried to get it to Vroman. He couldn't handle the pass. Here comes Oklahoma State with the ball, and Ivan McFarland trailing up court now. They're just going to wait until he gets here.
And like so many times earlier in the afternoon, Iowa State doing everything they wanted to do execution-wise, but unable to close the deal. Great high-low pass, had the layup, couldn't complete it.
What a great dish there from Bobby to Ivan McFarland.
That's where the maturity is paying off out on the perimeter for Oklahoma State here this afternoon. You talk about what it takes to win on the road. Won 4 out of 5 on the road. It looks like it's going to be 5 out of 6 with this one here this afternoon.
Now Mons gets tangled up on the rebound. He and Stinson are tied up, and John Lucas saying to Mons, hey, calm down. We're going to win a ball game here. Let's don't do anything rash. Now Iowa State's going to talk about it. They want a timeout with 4:22 to play. Oklahoma State leading by 16. Well, Eddie Sutton will be coaching to the last second of this ball game. Now he's talking to Mons about his temper. Every time a guy's made a mistake late in this ball game, Eddie Sutton has talked to him. Let's go back to Studio 66.
Fred, thank you. Check out Nebraska, Corey Sims. Nebraska just out hustling Missouri today. Corey Sims up and under a beautiful, beautiful maneuver. And right now it's 61-44 with 7:10 to play. Back out to you.
Tell you what, Paul, the tournament's going to be about the only hope for Missouri to salvage their season now.
Yeah, you take a look at their schedule that they've got coming up, some huge ball games, and that was a winnable ball game for them going out on the road this afternoon. And you figure you're going to be tough on your home floor where you've got a chance to hold serve right there, but you at least want to be competitive when you get away from your home floor.
Well, they go to Lawrence Monday night. If they win there, then okay, they can turn it around. But if they don't, they better be looking to the tournament to salvage a season. Sullivan, nice ball fake. Shot won't fall. Holman had a hand on the rebound, and a foul goes against Iowa State. Nothing is going the Cyclones' way right now. And you can see the expression on their faces, Paul. They just right now look like a beaten basketball team.
Well, they're a frustrated basketball team right now, and Wayne Morgan knows that he has to put some little things together on his club. He talked about that yesterday in practice. And when you get against the good teams and get down late, that's where a lot of those weaknesses are maybe exposed a little bit more.
Holman's going to sit down.
They need some quicker players out on the floor. Remember, Holman playing with that sore ankle after rolling it a few minutes ago, so you need quicker players out on the floor so you can press if you're the Cyclones.
Bobbick rushed it to midcourt, then stopped. Now brings it across the line. Jake Sullivan with him. 22 to shoot, 4:04 left in the game.
That's a luxury for Oklahoma State. You've got a shooting guard right there that can go out and play that point guard position.
Eddie Sutton yelling at a guy who's played almost a perfect game for him in John Lucas as the Cowboys turn it over, but still up by 16 with 4 minutes to play.
Right now, a perfect ball game for Eddie Sutton would be a solid last 4 minutes.
Yes, and nothing less. Vroman, Sullivan dropped it, lost the handle on it, got it back, and now Stinson in the lane with a short jumper that goes.
Stinson has a knack for losing defenders as he rubs off the top of that pick coming across the free throw lane. So Stinson, quick, able to find that open shot.
Yep, he has 17 points today, 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Now foul on Jake Sullivan. His first. Here in Ames, Iowa this afternoon, Hilton Manzik has not surfaced. Oklahoma State's just kept it very quiet in here. Oklahoma State leading Iowa State by 14 points. Happy to have you along with us. And the points in the paint, all Oklahoma State, and most of that, Ivan McFarland, who has 14 points in the paint. Bobby. He has 8 points, all of them here in the second half.
One of the strengths for Iowa State, Fred, is their ability to come in and block shots. They're second in the conference in block shots this season. No blocks yet today. That's how good the host players have been for Oklahoma State.
Bobby hits them both at the line. 3:34 left in this ball game, and now Oklahoma State by 16.
Time for this ESPN Plus update. Missouri and Nebraska again. Cornhuskers continue to pour it on from the outside. Now 64-46, 64-48, but still an embarrassing day for Mizzou. Back out to you guys.
All right, thanks. And here with 3:34 to play, it's Oklahoma State by 16. John Neal is in the game for Iowa State now. There's the commissioner, Kevin Weiberg, the Big 12 commissioner here in Ames. You ran into him last night out to dinner.
Yeah, I wonder what a guy from Dallas is doing in Ames this time of year. And last night, I think he was starting to ask himself some of those same questions.
That's right. Today, you seen a lot of games? He said, no, just 3 or 4.
Well, he'll see 2 here today. The Iowa State women take the floor here this evening against Missouri.
Tony Allen can't find a grip on it. Neal steals it. Stinson takes it to the lane and knocks the shot down, and bodies hit the floor everywhere.
Good penetration by Stinson right there. He is so good in the open floor. Neal on the floor right now for Iowa State. Gave them a spark against Iowa. He's a 3-point shooter. Iowa State will need a lot of 3-point shots between now and the end of the game.
Neal came off the bench against Iowa, hit a pair of threes and got a steal and sparked a comeback. Cyclones won that game. Then they beat Drake in Northern Iowa and won the Iowa State Championship. 2:41 to play here. 14-point lead, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State guards haven't even looked at the basket yet. Shot clock is at 8.
Bobby, ball fake, another fake. Steps back. Lucas is open, takes the look, takes the shot, and gets it.
Perfect possession for Oklahoma State. The shot clock is at 2 when he launches the 3-pointer. It's good. You can't do it any better than what the Cowboys just did.
Lucas now with 19 points, 5 assists, no turnovers on the day. And now Stinson appears to be hurt as they hit the deck over there. Time now for the Cooper Tire Defensive Player of the Game.
Well, Ivan McFarland has been all over the floor here this afternoon. He turns away a shot by Jared Holman inside. McFarland putting up huge numbers, picking up the points. The defensive angle has been there. He has been terrific on the glass here today.
It's Stinson down on the floor over there, writhing around in some pain. Inside the Iowa State huddle, it went down right in front of their bench.
Stinson came close to picking up this loose ball as it was headed for the sideline. I think it's Tony Allen also in the chase for the basketball. Fell across him, rolled right up his back. Well, was much before that little transaction there.
Kind of rode him like a toboggan, which would be fitting here in Ames today with all the snow that they've had. And they're working on Stinson over there. 2:15 left in this game. Oklahoma State's going to win it. They're up by 17 points here. We're talking about Ivan McFarland. What a day he has had up here. He's 21 points, 7 rebounds on the day, 2 and an assist for good measure.
And it's been very important for him to stay out of some foul trouble because his counterpart up front, Joey Graham, has spent some time on the bench this afternoon. He's saddled with 4 fouls.
They have Stinson sitting up over there. I can see through the pile of players. I can see his jersey number, so he's sitting up. They're going to get him to his feet, and he'll get some polite applause. Well, we'll get with Doug Bell later. Right now, Stinson's back on his feet here and back on the bench. The trainers were attending to him, so he has to come out. 81-64. Oklahoma State our score, and they're having trouble getting it going again. Now Jake Sullivan will step to the line. The 4th best free throw shooter in the nation, the best in the Big 12, 94% shooter. Well, if you got to nominate one guy to shoot, what a surprise, huh?
Well, the Oklahoma State upcoming schedule, you mentioned Big Monday, Kansas at Gallagher-Iba. Baylor comes in next, then at Oklahoma. They continue the Bedlam series.
Quite a series. 10 points in the second half for Jake Sullivan now, 21 on the day. A little full-court pressure, and Oklahoma State's going to beat it. Bobby just races Blaylock to the timeline and the cross. Gives it to Lucas.
Lucas did a great job of handling that double team on the inbounds pass.
Now they clear it, and Bobby can't quite catch up with it. Long pass intended for Vroman at the other end. He's got the ball, tried to reverse dunk, wouldn't go. And now Jake Sullivan grabs a player. He grabbed Allen and committed a foul on the way back, and there was some frustration there. Of all the things to do.
Well, Iowa State throwing the ball the length of the floor. I think it was intended for Neal, and he didn't know it was coming down there. It looked like Vroman was going to be able to bail them out. Had a chance to lay it in, but fired the dunk off the heel of the rim. Oklahoma State coming up with another loose ball.
Now Jason Miller back on the floor for Oklahoma State. Allen knocks the free throw down. He's having a good day also. Allen with 15 points, 7 rebounds. As usual, they're showing a lot of balance. Now Broman picks up the missed free throw. 1:47 to play. And Oklahoma State's going to go back to Stillwater with another road win. Shot Blaylock, no good. Tony Allen grabs the board and he gets fouled.
And teams contending for the title in regular season league play, the difference is how well do you do on the road? You figure that you're that talented, you cover on your home floor, though you still got to go out and play the games and battle and get the job done there. But to go out and play as well as they have on the road, their only stumbling conference play was the opening day weekend out at Texas Tech and Lubbock.
Where a lot of people will lose, but they've also won in Austin, and now they're going to win in Ames. Tony Allen's free throw no good. Damian Staple the rebound. Miller fell over him, and they're going to play 5-on-4 until Allen can catch up, and there's Staple down the lane. The shot won't go. Broman had a hand on the rim. Tried to slam it home and couldn't. Bobby clears it for Oklahoma State with a long bounce pass to Allen at midcourt. That's going to be an intentional foul. So that'll be 2 free throws and possession of the basketball. Jake Sullivan trying to plead a case, and the official saying, nope.
Well, Iowa State just pressing all over the floor now, gambling defensively, and when you put that kind of pressure on the ball, you've got a potential to get beaten on the dribble drive. Wayne Morgan disappointed. Blaylock came away with a fistful of jersey right here. Allen right there really not looking to go to the basket early, but Blaylock just trying to drag him down from behind. Relatively easy call for the official.
Tony Allen's free throw good. Now 15 points and 8 rebounds. Make it 16 and 8 for Tony Allen. Lead scorer this year for Oklahoma State. Now the 18-point lead for Oklahoma State, the biggest margin of the day, and 1:21 to play, and the Cowboys keep the basketball. The crowd is emptying out here at Hilton Coliseum, an unusual sight. Lucas, behind the back dish, and Miller got hammered by Damian Staple. His second foul.
What is the unusual sight is to see a team come in here and play as well as Oklahoma State has played here this afternoon. Down early on the scoreboard, battled back, had a nice lead at halftime, and the poise and the experience and the maturity that they have shown in the second half of this game have been remarkable.
Jason Miller's free throw good, his 3rd point of the day. Well, what's left now for the Cyclones? They go to Kansas State. They've got Texas in here, at Missouri, at Kansas, and Kansas State back here.
Critical part of their schedule coming up. So many road games, tough chances, and Texas coming in here will be a tough task for the Cyclones.
Broman put it on the floor, tries a long 3 that misses, and Jake Sullivan almost had the rebound, but it's out of bounds to Oklahoma State with 1:05 to play now. Well, it's going to be important for Iowa State to regroup. They don't lose many at home. They hadn't lost one here yet this year. But Oklahoma State continues to play good, solid basketball, and they'll keep the first place tie in the Big 12. They're tied with Kansas and Texas coming into action today.
Fred, Iowa State did not have a good game in midweek at Oklahoma, and there were times here this afternoon they played like a tired basketball team, like their legs are a little bit worn down.
I agree.
It'd be important for Wayne Morgan to handle things right in practice, get them the practice and the reps that they need, but don't just beat a young team down, because this is getting the time of the year when you got some first-year players. The schedule gets a little long for those rookies.
How about this? 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and Staple fouled John Lucas at midcourt when he had him in trouble. That's kind of pretty typical of the way it's gone for Iowa State today. Now John Lucas to the line. He has 19 points today, has not had a turnover, has 5 assists. 20 points. 27 is career high. Oh, it's quiet. Lucas gets them both down. He has a 21-point day with no turnovers. A tremendous day for the Oklahoma State point guard. Now Sullivan looking for a shot. He's going to get one. Got double teamed instead, and now a foul down in the lane as Jason Miller was on Broman's back, and Jason Miller draws the foul with 26 seconds to play, and Eddie Sutton isn't liking that at all either.
Well, Eddie Sutton knows that his team has a comfortable lead here this afternoon, but you still want your team playing smart down the stretch. Got to know score and time. Right now, Oklahoma State wants to keep that clock going. Next time they come to this stage of the ballgame, they might not have as big a lead, and it would be a necessity to keep that clock rolling.
Roman continued to have problems on the free throw line. He is 2 for 4 today. So they're going to run out the clock now with 22 seconds to play. Iowa State has backed off. Lucas is going to walk it up. And this game is going to come to an end right where it is right now. They're not going to challenge it. They're going to let the clock run down. And Oklahoma State will walk out of here with a 21-point victory on the road in a very difficult place to play. 88-67. Oklahoma State has defeated Iowa State at Hilton Coliseum in Ames. So, big win on the road for Oklahoma State. And rare boos being heard here in Ames for Iowa State. Let's get you back to Studio 66, Doug Bell and Chris Piper.